You know, I spent all my time shallow. You know, I knew these fish were either getting ready to come or there were already some up, you know, and I spent the week just looking for a place that, you know, I could do what I like to do, and that's fish shallow and power fish. You know, this has been a big rod, you know, big line tournament, and I mean, I knew they were going to catch some fish up there behind the dam. They do every time we come here, but you know, it's one of those deals. I don't get a lot of opportunities. We travel all over the country, and there's not very many chances to fish bushes and grass and fishing 3 foot or less in heavy cover. You know, we just don't go to a lot of places you can do that, and this week was just textbook for it. And I said, you know what? They may win up there behind the dam, but I'm going to fish my strengths, and I just stayed shallow. You know, rodent, half-ounce hack-attack jig, you know, were probably my main two. And yesterday I switched it up. We had some cloudy weather, and I was throwing a new Strike King Tour Grade frog. It's the best frog I've ever thrown. You know, the deal about that frog is those fish are up there bedding or getting ready, and they're kind of in a defensive mode. They're not actually feeding. And I can take that frog and irritate them big ones. And I tell you, you don't get a lot of bites on it. You know, it's kind of like flipping a big jig. You know, you get a handful of bites, but it catches quality fish. Like I had 4 bites on it yesterday and caught 3 of them. They were all 4-pounders. I mean, that's just kind of the deal. It really fits into my type of fishing because I like to fish for quality fish, and I'm one of those people. I'm real patient, and I don't have to get a lot of bites as long as I'm catching the right kind. And that Strike King Tour Grade frog catches big ones. I threw a bluegill pattern this week, actually, and the reason for that, that's one of the, I guess, the bass's nemesis. You know, when they're up on the bank spawning, that's a fish they hate to see because those bluegill will eat the eggs, and they just don't enjoy to be in each other's company. So I threw that bluegill pattern. I felt like that was something, you know, those fish don't like. I was throwing my 7.2 Tour Hackney signature rod with 65 braid. You know, that frog works a lot easier on braid than it does on monofilament, and I don't want any stretch. When that fish engulfs, that thing's got 2 big gamakatsu hooks in it, and I want to be able to drive them home, you know, and that's the deal with the braid. And I can skip with that 7.2, I can skip it in under those bushes and around those cypress trees. And that was the whole key to that. I caught every fish I weighed in on 65 braid. Well, you know, the same thing. The hack-attack jig is tailor-made for heavy cover. And I mean, you know, it's got that head design, it's got that heavy hook. That's the whole deal. You know, it's being able, when you get those fish on back in that brush, you know, to be able to drag them out. And I boat flip everything. I don't know how big the biggest one I had today, but you know, this happens real quick. I get big close, that big rod and big line, it's all happening. You don't want that hook to give. And so that's the deal with the hack-attack jig. I threw in the clear water, I threw a green pumpkin, and then in the more colored water, I threw summer crawl. And summer crawl was actually probably my best jig color and my best rodent color this week. I'm leaving just shortly after we get through with this interview, and I'm headed to Toledo Bend. I'm gonna stop at my parents' house on the way down tonight. It's 5 or 6 hours to their house, and I'm gonna spend the night there and then get up tomorrow and go into Toledo Bend. We start practice Monday. I have a hack-attack jig, and I'm gonna have a Strike King rodent. Fishing's gonna be a little bit different there. The majority of those fish are gonna be through spawning, and hopefully, you know, it'll be a deal where you can find those big females bunched up. You know, they'll be on kind of relating more to the drops and depressions now. They'll start to pull out, and I actually think there might be a little shad spawn when we get there. Now that'll be the first thing I do early Monday morning. I'll take a half-ounce Strike King spinnerbait and hunt that shad spawn. It's just it's getting to that time of the year. That's a little bit farther south than here, and so the water temperature's a little warmer and everything's a little farther along. So those shad normally show up after the bass spawn, so we may be gonna hit that right on the head. You know, I'm not sure. I feel like I made a big jump this week. You know, I'm in middle of the classic pack, I feel like, now after this week.